Shadow people. At first, they were simple shadows seen out of the corner of the eye while people read, watched television, or did any other activity in their homes. The silhouettes passed quickly, barely taking a fraction of a second to disappear, completely unseen. While they slept, strange shadows would break into their rooms, causing intense terror. Some witnesses would later report that all they saw of these shadows were their arms and legs coming toward them. But what are they? What are these shadows? Shadow people are beings usually belonging to the field of the supernatural, visitors to this reality who walk around in the eyes of human beings without a clear purpose. The appearance of these beings is usually the body of a tall adult capable of slipping through rooms at high speed or even passing through walls. They can move objects and turn the lights or other electronics in houses on or off anytime they seem fit. But what do scientists say? Do they believe in these shadow people? Claire Oakley and Amit Malik, they're mental health specialists. Shelley Adler is an expert in sleep paralysis. And Dr. Herbert C. Covey. All these people report that this phenomenon is actually caused by psychiatric disorders such as paranoia or schizophrenia, paralysis or sleep deprivation, or the abuse of drugs such as cocaine and methamphetamine. Oakley and Malik themselves point out that mental disturbances or stress can cause visions in the dark and make people more likely to detect the presence of threatening shadows. However, methamphetamine addicts are the main witnesses of shadow people. This drug does not cause hallucinations, but does cause profound sleep deprivation that can manifest itself as the sight of these strange and terrifying beings. However, it is in the so-called sleep paralysis, which is a strange phenomenon in which the mind is conscious while the body remains immobile for a few seconds or minutes, where the largest cases of encounters with shadow people have been recorded. People claim that these shadows come into violent physical contact with them, preventing them from moving. The alleged shadow people attacks have always occurred at night. This makes many think that the attacks may be episodes of sleep paralysis. Many experts think that these shadows really have no power over us. They simply are there, but they can do little more to harm us. However, there are others that don't see it this way, believing shadow people could be finding ways to possess and occupy human bodies if they see the opportunity. In addition, one must take into account the interpretation of the brain, which gives this shadow a humanoid shape. This process is known as pareidolia, a psychological phenomenon that all humans have, which causes unfamiliar things to take the shape of something resembling a human. Despite all the scientific explanation that surrounds this supernatural phenomenon, there is always the possibility that these beings really do exist, and that there are people who are capable of seeing them. Or we can say that perhaps only those in an altered state of consciousness, such as sleep paralysis, are the ones that have the ability to see them. Still don't believe in the shadow people? Well, let's take these two separate experiences into account before we make up our minds. The first report is from a user who posted their experience with shadow people on Reddit. When I was about 13 or 14 in 2005, I woke up in the middle of the night, sometime between 2 to 4 a.m. It wasn't unusual for me to wake up in the middle of the night and walk to my mom's bedroom to fall back asleep. This time was different. The moon's reflection on my wall was so bright, I thought it was unusual. I started to walk down the hallway, and I had a habit of looking in each bedroom, down the stairs, into the bathroom, and into my sister's room. I was standing in the corner of her door, and it was right there that I saw a man about 6 feet tall, all black, and no features, no hat, or clothes, or red eyes, or anything. This figure was standing right beside my sister's bed, looking down at her. I was frozen in fear, and at the same time I had said aloud, "Mom? Mom? Mom?" over and over, trying to imagine it was anything other than what the alternative would be. I called out to see if it was my dog, even though I knew deep in the back of my mind that made no sense. The shadow person was completely silent and completely still. I was terrified. It then started to turn its head toward me slowly, with its body completely still. I immediately freaked out and ran down the hall into my mom's room screaming, "There's a man in her room! There's a man in her room!" My mom jumped out of the bed instantly and ran down the hallway, then flipped on my sister's bedroom light on to the sight of nothing. Nothing was there. She checked the entire house, thinking it maybe could have been my brother's friend or some sort of other intruder. But there was no one in the house, and there was no evidence of a break-in. I was left physically shaken and unable to stop my shaking. I couldn't go to sleep for the rest of the night. There was no way it was a person who could have escaped that fast. It all happened so quick. After it happened, I didn't know what to make of it. I had never heard of shadow people and had no idea many other people had seen the same being that I had seen all around the world. It was only until years later, I was watching TV, and I think it was on Discovery Channel, that there was a show playing of a girl who saw shadow people. I was shocked because the shadow person on the TV looked exactly like what I had seen all those years ago. And then I started to look more into it. What I think is unique about my experience was that I came across it when it was about to do something to my sister. In all my other research, the shadow people stories seem to revolve around sleep paralysis, seeing them out of the corner of the eye, and the experiences more or less happening directly to the person that was witnessing the shadow person. None of those were the case for me. I was fully awake, staring directly at this thing for a substantial amount of time. I even called out to it, and then I ran to get help. No one can tell me shadow people don't exist, and I do get annoyed seeing science trying to explain the phenomenon away as hallucinations. It's a slap in the face for those who know what we saw. I just have so many questions still. Like, why was it standing over my sister? Why did I happen to stumble across it? Why was I able to see it? Why has no one else in my family seen it? Why was it there? What is it? And how come so many other people have seen them? I truly hope that I never see it again. The next report is from someone who posted their experience on their personal website. Between the ages of 5 and 6, I saw 2 shadow people. When I was a little boy, I was always afraid of the dark, but for good reason. Strange sights and noises were not uncommon during the dark hours. In fact, I can't remember a night in which I didn't experience the presence of evil. I would hear mysterious voices and footsteps, and on rare occasions I would see images. All of the preceding perceptions were followed by a strange, painless burn-like feeling that ran through my entire body, head to toe. This feeling, as well as the relentlessness of the entities, have left me to believe that they were in fact evil or demonic. My first sighting as a 5-year-old boy came when I awoke late one November night. Afraid to consciously be alone in my room late at night, I stepped out of bed, my nerves dancing around like fireballs, and approached my open door, which was open so the light from the bathroom could shine in my room. No lights was not an option. When I reached the door, I watched a small, elf-looking creature slowly tiptoe across the wall and disappear into my sister's open room, the room in which I had just planned on going to. The whole time, I could not believe what I was seeing. I froze until it disappeared. Then, I made a mad dash for my parents' room, the place where I would spend the rest of the night. My next encounter came when I was 7, and would be much scarier than the first. Sleeping in my sister's room, I awoke to a shadow of a man standing at the base of her door. This man was well defined, in the blackest shade of black I had ever seen in my life. I was convinced an intruder had broken into our home, so I let out a horrible scream. Moments later, my sister turned on the light, and the demonic spirit instantly disappeared. And while the sounds of demons have rapidly died down with age, I always seem to get a reminder from time to time that they're still there. Although, I'm just thankful not to have seen a spirit since that night 10 years ago. So, what do you think? Do shadow people exist? Or are our brains just a terrifying part of our bodies? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe.